Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another tutorial. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make this super simple tote bag. I'm going to be showing you step by step, so all you have to do is just follow along with me. If you are looking for the perfect tote for the summer, this is the one for you. And if you get to the end of this video and you like this tutorial, then leave me a like. And if you have any comments or any questions or any feedback for me, I'd really appreciate it. So just leave it in the comment section down below. And let's get into the video. For this project, you're going to need about 230 grams of size 4 or medium weight yarn. You're going to need a 4mm hook, some stitch markers and a pair of scissors. And also for this project, you're going to need to know how to make chain stitches, double crochet, so insert your hook, pull a loop through, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. I'm going to be using UK crochet terms in this video, so if you're more familiar with US terms, you might recognize what I just did as a single crochet. They're the same thing. We will also be using treble crochet, so yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Again, if you're more familiar with US terms, you might know that as a double crochet stitch. Again, they are the same thing, just known by different names. And we're also going to be slip stitching. So insert a hook into a stitch, pull a loop through, and pull. You now have 2 loops on your hook, pull the first loop through the second loop, and there's a slip stitch. Okay, let's get into the tutorial. And to begin, we're going to start by making your slip knot, and then we're going to make a chain of 60 chain stitches. Once you've completed your chain of 60, we're going to start with row 1, which is going to be 1 row of treble crochets. So counting 3 chain stitches from your hook, going to yarn over, insert your hook into that 3rd chain stitch, pull a loop through. Now you have 3 stitches on your hook, yarn over again, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through those final 2 loops. And now we're going to insert a treble crochet into the very next stitch, yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that next stitch, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And that's your second treble crochet. And what you're going to do is put a treble crochet into every single stitch of this chain until the last stitch. Once you've completed your row of treble crochets, you should have a total of 58 treble crochet stitches. And these 58 stitches will determine the length of your bag, because we're going to turn it vertically when we stitch it all together. And the number of rows we make from here on will determine how wide the bag is going to be. So now on to row 2. To begin row 2, chain 2 and turn your work. Now the chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so we're going to work our first treble crochet of row 2 into that very first treble crochet stitch from row 1. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And now we're going to chain 1, we're going to skip the next treble crochet stitch, and we're going to work a treble crochet into the following stitch. So treble crochet, and we're going to do the same thing, chain 1, skip the next stitch, treble crochet into the following stitch, and again chain 1, skip the next stitch, treble crochet into the following stitch, and one final time, chain 1, skip the next stitch, treble crochet into that following stitch. And now into the next 7 stitches, you're going to place a treble crochet into every stitch. So there's 1, Once you've done that, what you should be able to see are these 4 squares followed by a solid row of 8 treble crochet stitches. So now to continue on, we're going to chain 1, and again skipping the next treble crochet stitch, we're going to place a treble crochet into the following stitch, and we're going to repeat that 4 more times. So chain 1, skip the next stitch, treble crochet into the following stitch, and once you've done that, you should now see that you have 5 of these mesh-like squares compared with the beginning where we just had 4. Now to continue on, into the next 7 stitches, you're going to place 1 treble crochet into every stitch. Now that you've done that, you should again have a solid row of 8 treble crochets, and moving on, chain 1, skip the next stitch, treble crochet into the following stitch, and again repeat this 4 more times until you create these 5 squares, and I'll meet you back. Once you've done that and you've made your 5 squares, we're again going to place 1 treble crochet stitch into each of the next 7 stitches. And once you've done that, you now have your final block of 8 treble crochet stitches for this row, and we're going to finish off row 2 the same way we started it, with these 4 squares. So chain 1, skip the next stitch into the following stitch, insert your treble crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch into the following stitch, and continue until you've completed this row, and that's row 2. Now chain 2 and turn your work. Now rows 3, 4 and 5 follow the exact same pattern as row 2. So we start with our 4 squares followed by 8 treble crochets, 5 squares, then 8 treble crochets, then 5, then 8, and then finishing off on these 4 squares. Basically everywhere you see a treble crochet in row 2, you need to make a treble crochet in row 3, and everywhere you see a chain stitch in row 2, you make a chain stitch again in row 3. So just to start you off, we've done our chain 2 and we've turned. So now in that very first treble crochet in row 2, we insert a treble crochet. And now that we have a chain stitch, we make a chain stitch, and into the next treble crochet, we insert a treble crochet. Essentially for rows 3, 4 and 5, you're just following the exact same pattern as the previous row. And when you're ready to start row 6, I'll meet you back and I'll show you what to do in row 6. And now that you've finished row 5, you should see now that you have these 3 solid square blocks of treble crochets and these 4 mesh ones. So now moving on to row 6, we again chain 2 and turn your work. Now for row 6, we're going to place a treble crochet into every single stitch, into every treble crochet stitch and into every chain stitch all the way until we reach the end of the row. So just to start you off, treble crochet into that first treble crochet stitch from row 5, and then a treble crochet into this chain space, and another treble crochet into that next treble crochet stitch from row 5, and the same all the way along until the end of the row. And once you're done with row 6, chain 2 and turn your work. Now for row 7, just like in row 6, we're going to place a treble crochet into every single stitch until the end of the row. And once you've completed row 7, chain 2 and turn your work. Now from rows 8 until row 30, you're just going to be repeating what we've done in rows 2 to 7. And so eventually you're going to end up with something like this. And for row 30, you should end on 1 row of a solid line of treble crochets. And if you want your bag wider, you can continue on for more rows, but you still want to end up with your final row being this solid line of treble crochets. So to start you off with row 8, we're going to put our yarn over our hook, and into that very first treble crochet from row 7, we're going to insert 1 treble crochet, then chain 1, skip the next stitch, into the following stitch, insert a treble crochet, and again chain 1, into not into the next stitch, skip the next stitch, into the following stitch, insert a treble crochet, and so on, just as we did in row 2. And now that we've got our 4 squares, we're going to do our treble crochets into the next 7 stitches. So that's how row 8 starts off, and until row 30, just continue repeating rows 2 to row 7. And once you're done with that, I'll meet you back to show you what to do next. And I'm just going to finish up row 30 with 1 final treble crochet. And we are almost done with our first panel. Now to complete this first panel, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to be working stitches into these treble crochet side rows. So for the first stitch, you're going to yarn over, and you're going to insert your hook into that treble crochet. So not underneath it, but into the middle of that stitch. And you're going to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over again into that same treble crochet. You're going to go into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through those last 2 loops. To the next side row, we have here a chain 2 and then our treble crochet. Going to yarn over. This time you're going to go underneath that chain 2 stitch. So we're not going into the chain 2 like we did with the treble crochet. We're going to insert our hook between the treble and the chain stitch and pull our loop under the chain 2 stitch, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Again, yarn over, going under the chain 2 stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And then into the next side row, we now have a treble crochet. So yarn over, again, going into that treble crochet, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and insert a second treble crochet into that treble crochet side row. So put your hook into that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And so now you're going to continue 2 treble crochets around every chain 2, and we do that by putting our hook under the chain 2 and pulling the loop through, and then 2 treble crochets into every treble crochet, and we do that by inserting our hook into the middle of that treble crochet stitch and pulling up a loop through the stitch, and continue until you have treble crochets all along this bottom edge. And when you're nearly done, I'll come back and show you how to finish off. Okay, now I'm at my final chain 2 before I finish off this bottom edge. So I'm going to go under that chain 2, insert 1 treble crochet, and then go under that same chain 2, insert another treble crochet, and to finish off, chain 1. Now we can see we're at our side row of treble crochets. So we're going to finish off by slip stitching into that very first treble crochet. So slip stitch, and then chain 1 and cut our yarn, and we are all done with our first panel. That's the first panel all completed. For the bag, you're going to need 2 of these, so just go back to the beginning of the video and repeat everything that we did up to this point, And once you've completed your 2 panels, come back and I'll show you what to do next. And once you've made both of your panels, we're now going to move on to making this long cord that we're going to use to give a little bit of support to the side and the base of the bag. To figure out how many stitches you need to chain for this cord, you need to count the number of stitches that you have along the side and the number of stitches that we made along the base and the other side of the bag, not forgetting to count the chain 1 stitches that we made when we were making our stitches along the base. And if you're making a bag the same size as mine, then each side will have 58 stitches, and along the base you have 62 stitches, including those chain 1 spaces, making a total of 178 stitches. And so you're going to plus 1 and make a chain of 179 stitches. Once you've changed however many stitches you're going to need for the length of your cord, we're going to make 3 rows of double crochets. You're going to look at the chain stitch 2 stitches away from your hook, so 1, 2. You're going to insert your hook into that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both of those loops, and there's your double crochet. You're going to do that into every stitch until the end of the row, and you're going to do this for 3 rows until eventually you have a cord that looks like this. And then once you're done with that, we're going to stitch this to the 2 panels that we've made. And once you're done making your cord, we're going to stitch it to this first panel. So first you need to decide which side of the panel you want facing the outside of the bag and which side you want on the inside of the bag. So looking at mine, I've got a bunch of these threads here, so I want this side to be the inside of the bag. So this I'm going to call my wrong side, and the side that I want to have on the outside I'm going to call the right side. So you need to face your wrong side face down, and then taking the cord, line it up against one side of the panel. You want the short end to be lined up against the edge where we're going to be stitching the rim. So we have the sides, we have the bottom, and we have this side here where we're going to stitch the rim of the bag. So just line the short end of the cord up with that. And now we're going to attach our yarn. So taking your hook, insert your hook into that first double crochet of the first double crochet row of your cord, and also insert your hook into the first treble crochet of the side of your panel. Then taking your yarn, pull your yarn through both those stitches, chain 1, and then into the next double crochet insert your hook, and into the next treble crochet of your panel insert your hook, pull your yarn through. Now you have 2 loops on your hook, pull the first loop through the second loop to slip stitch, and again inserting your hook into that double crochet of the cord and into the treble crochet of the panel. Again we're going to slip stitch, and we're going to continue slip stitching all along this side, all along the base of the bag, and all along the other side until we get back round to the rim of the bag. And then once you're done with that, we'll stitch the second panel to the cord and to the first panel. And as you're making your slip stitches, don't forget that you also need to slip stitch into the chain 1 that we made in the corner of the panel when we were stitching the treble crochets along the base of the panel. And once you put in that final slip stitch for the first panel, then chain 1 and cut your yarn, and now we can move on to stitching the second panel. So take your second panel, again decide which side you want to have on the outside, that's going to be your right side, which side you want to have on the inside, that's going to be your wrong side, and this time you want to lay the panel down with the wrong side facing you. And then just as we did with the first panel, we're going to slip stitch all along the side, all along the base, and all along the other side. And then once you're done with that, we will flip the bag inside out and start stitching the rim and the handles. So to begin, insert your hook into the first treble crochet in the side of your second panel and into the first double crochet in your cord. Pull your yarn through, chain one, then into the next treble crochet in your panel and into the second double crochet in the cord. Pull your yarn through and slip stitch and insert your hook into the next treble crochet of the panel and into the next double crochet of the cord. Pull your yarn through and slip stitch, and just continue doing that all the way around. And once you place your final slip stitch in, you can chain one and cut your yarn. And once you're finished, this is what it should look like around the side, around the base, around the other side. And now we're just going to turn this inside out. And we are all finished with the main body of the bag. So now we're going to start stitching our rim across the top. So taking a look along one of the sides of your bag, you should be able to see the 3 rows of double crochet that we stitched to make the cord. I'm going to insert my hook into that middle row, so that's the second row, and take my yarn, pull the yarn through and chain 2. And into that same stitch, into that same one that we just made the chain 2, going to insert a treble crochet. Then moving along to the next row of double crochets, going to insert a treble crochet there as well. And then we have this little crevice where we were making the slip stitches. Going to insert a treble crochet into that as well. And now we're at the treble crochet side rows. So just like when we were stitching the base of the bag, you're going to insert 2 treble crochets into the side of every treble crochet side row. So yarn over hook, insert your hook into that treble crochet, pull a loop through the stitch and make a treble crochet. And again, yarn over, insert your hook into that treble crochet, pull a loop through and make the treble crochet stitch. And now we have our chain 2 and a treble crochet. And just as before, we're going to insert our hook under the chain 2, pull the loop through and make the treble crochet. And for a second time, insert your hook under the chain 2, pull the loop through and make the treble crochet. And into this next treble crochet side row, we're going to put our hook into the stitch, pull a loop through and make a treble crochet, and insert a second treble crochet into that same treble crochet side row. So into the treble crochet, pull a loop through and treble crochet. Do the same all around the rim. So treble crochets into every treble crochet side row. You want to insert 2 treble crochets, and around every chain 2, you're going to insert 2 treble crochets. And when you get around to the other side of the bag where we've got the cord, you're going to again insert 1 treble crochet into this little crevice here where we were making the slip stitches, 1 treble crochet into the first row of double crochets, 1 treble crochet into this middle second row of double crochets, 1 treble crochet into the final row of double crochets, and into this next join crevice here, 1 treble crochet, and then continue with your treble crochets around the other side of the rim of the bag. And then once you're nearly at the end, I'll meet you back. And once you've made your final treble crochet stitch of this round, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the very first treble crochet that we made. Then chain 2. Before we move on to the next round, at this point you're going to decide where you want to place your straps. You can put them wherever you like, just to make sure that on the left side and on the right side it's equidistant. So I think I want my straps to start just before this second mesh square and just after the fourth mesh square. So I'm going to use my stitch marker and place it into that stitch just there, and take my other stitch marker, place it into this stitch, and I'm just going to have a quick count to make sure that it's the same number of stitches across. So the stitch marker is in the wrong position, I need to move it down 1, and now they're equal. And on the other side you're going to do the exact same thing. Place your stitch markers where your handle is going to begin and end. And once you place your stitch markers, go back to your chain 2. And we're going to turn our work. And this is going to be another row of treble crochets. So you can see that very first treble crochet next to the chain 2. We're going to skip that and insert a treble crochet into the following stitch. And then a treble crochet into the next stitch and into all of the stitches until you get to your first stitch marker. So now we're at our stitch marker, we're going to place a treble crochet into that stitch that has our stitch marker. And now we're going to chain 90. So we're not going to put treble crochets between this stitch marker and this stitch marker. We're going to make a chain of 90. And that is going to be our handle. The number of chains you make will determine the length of your handle, so you can chain fewer or more stitches if you like, depending on your preference. A chain of 90 will give you a handle drop of about 12 inches. Of course, this will vary depending on your tension and depending on what yarn you chose to use. And just FYI, the handle drop is the distance from the top of the handle to the top of the bag. And once you've made your 90 chain stitches, we're going to continue by moving over to our second stitch marker and inserting a treble crochet into that stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch with the stitch marker and make a treble crochet. And then continue making treble crochets all the way around until you come to your third stitch marker on the other side, on the other panel. And once you get around to this third stitch marker, again insert a treble crochet into that stitch with the stitch marker, and once again we're going to chain 90. And once again, once you've chained your 90 stitches, move across to your next stitch marker and insert a treble crochet into that stitch. And then you can treble crochet all the way across until you get back to your chain 2. And once you get around to your chain 2, you're going to put your final treble crochet of the round into the same stitch where you made your chain 2, and then slip stitch into the top of your first treble crochet from this round, then chain 2 and turn your work. So you can see where we have our handles now. Obviously we don't want them to be this thin and flimsy, so we're going to continue the next round with more treble crochet stitches. So again, we're going to skip the first treble crochet from that previous round, and into the following stitch we're going to insert a treble crochet and into the next stitch and into all the stitches until we reach the start of our handle. And once you get around to the start of the handle, we're going to insert a treble crochet into that first chain stitch, and into the next chain stitch, and into all of the remaining chain stitches you're going to insert one treble crochet, and you're going to insert a treble crochet around the sides, and then when you get back to the second handle, again one treble crochet into every single chain stitch. Continue working treble crochets all around the rim of the bag until you get back to your chain 2 at the beginning. And once again, place your last treble crochet into that same stitch where we had the chain 2 and slip stitch into the top of the treble crochet. And once you've done that, this is what the handles look like. You can stop there if you like. For me, this is still a little bit too thin, so I'm going to do one more round of treble crochets. And if you like, you can also do another round of treble crochets. So once again, chain 2 and turn, and skipping that first treble crochet into the next one. Treble crochets once again all the way around the perimeter, including around the handles, and then once you're done I'll meet you back and we'll be finished with our bag. And once you've gone all the way around and inserted your final treble crochet, slip stitch into the top of the first treble crochet of the round, then chain 1 and cut off your yarn. And that's it, we're all done. That's the bag. The final stage is, of course, to weave in all of these ends, but other than that, that is the bag done. So thanks for making it to the end of the video, and once again, if you liked it, then leave me a like. If you have any questions, any comments, please leave it in the comments section down below. I'm pretty new to making video tutorials, so I really appreciate the feedback so that I can make these videos a lot better. And that's it for now. I'll catch you in the next video.